Hello everyone, myself Dr. Jyoti Gangurde, Assistant Professor of Zoology, KTHM College Nasik. Students, today we are going to discuss on the chapter repair and the topic that is the process of repair, types of repair and the healing procedure of such a repair. Okay, so we can see all the steps one by one, all the processes one by one. Now here you can see first upon what is meant by healing. So here healing here injury to the tissue, okay, which may result in cell death and tissue destruction. So whatever the injury, okay, whatever the tissue which may get injured, okay, which results in what? The cell death and the tissue destruction. Now here healing on the other hand, here which is the body response to the injury in an attempt to restore normal structure and function. Okay. Now after injury, the process is what? The healing. So here, after any injury, response to that injury, healing procedure is here. Okay. Now such a healing which restores the normal structure as well as function. Okay. Now this process involves two distinct processes. The healing is the procedure which involves the two processes. The first process is the regeneration and second one that is repair. Okay, now here in case of regeneration, regeneration is the process when healing takes place by proliferation of parenchymal cells and usually result in complete restoration of the original tissue. Okay, now and after that the second procedure that is repair. Repair is the condition or repair is the step when the healing takes place by proliferation of connective tissue elements resulting in fibrosis and scarring. Okay, so we can see all the steps in detail one by one. So here we can see the first step is the regeneration. Now here regeneration in that some parenchymal cells are short-lived while others have a longer lifespan. In order to maintain proper structure of tissue, these cells are under the constant regulatory control of their cell cycle. These include the growth factors such as epidermal growth factor, then fibroblast, platelet or platelet derived cells, then endothelial, then transforming growth factors. Okay, now these are some growth factors. They are included in this process of regeneration. Okay, now here again we can see the cell cycle. Okay, now here the cell cycle, as we know that the cell cycle which is divided into four unequal types, that is mitosis phase, then here G1 is the gap 1 phase, then synthesis phase, and again G2 is the gap 2 phase. Okay, now in this regeneration procedure, okay, we are going to discuss regarding here the cell cycle. Okay, and here the cell cycle of this regeneration which is divided into four unequal types such as the mitotic phase or mitosis phase M. G1 is the gap 1 phase followed by synthesis phase and G2 is again the gap 2 phase. And now here the regeneration procedure which include certain growth factors. The growth factors such as epidermal growth factor, fibroblast growth factor, platelet derived growth factor, then endothelial growth factor as well as transforming growth factors. Okay. Now after that you can see depending upon before that, okay, one more point is left here. Here the first phase is the mitosis phase, or what we say is that the phase of mitosis. Then the G1 phase or the gap 1 phase, here the daughter cell enters the G1 phase after mitosis. Okay. Now then S phase is the synthesis phase, where during this phase the synthesis of nuclear DNA takes place. Okay, in this phase, synthesis phase. Okay, synthesis of nuclear DNA takes place, followed by the gap 2 phase, where after completion of nuclear DNA duplication, the cell enters into the G2, that is gap 2 phase. Okay, now not all the cells of the body they get divided at the same time, at the same the place or time. Some mature cells they do not divide at all, while other complete a cell cycle every 16 to 24 hours. Okay, the main difference between slowly dividing and rapidly dividing cells is the duration of G1 phase. Okay, so what is it? Here the main difference between slowly dividing and rapidly dividing cells is the duration of G1 phase. Now, depending upon their capacity to divide, the cells of the body they can be divided into again 3 groups. Okay, now depending upon their capacity of cell to divide. Okay, now on the basis of that, the body cells they can be categorized into 3 different groups. Okay, the groups such as here you can see the labial cells, then stable cells and permanent cells. Okay, now here the labial cells are the cells they continue to multiply throughout life under the normal physiological conditions. Okay, so labial cells they continue to multiply throughout their life under normal physiologic conditions. These include surface epithelial cells of epidermis, then the cells of alimentary tract, cells of respiratory tract, then cells of urinary tract, cells of vagina, cells of cervix, after that the cells of uterine endometrium, then the hematopoietic cells of bone marrow, and the cells are lymph nodes of the spleen. Okay, now these these parts of the body, okay, where such a labial cells they are present, and here such a cells they continue to multiply throughout their life under the normal physiologic conditions. Okay, now after that the stable cells. Now the stable cells, these are the cells that decrease or lose their ability to proliferate. Okay, they decrease or they shows the poor ability to multiply or to proliferate. Okay, after adolescence, but retain the capacity to multiply in response to stimuli throughout the adult life. Now these include the parenchymal cells of organs like liver, pancreas, kidneys, adrenal and thyroid, mesenchymal cells like smooth muscle cells, fibroblast, vascular endothelium, bone and cartilage cells. Okay, now here these cells, okay, now these parts of the body, okay, they show some kind of stable cells. Now such a stable cells, they decrease or lose their ability to proliferate after the adolescent, but certain capacity to multiply in response to stimuli throughout the adult life. Okay, these are the stable cells. And now the third type, that is permanent cells. The permanent cells here, these cells lose their ability to proliferate around the time of birth. These include the neurons of nervous system, skeletal muscle and cardiac muscle cells. Okay, these are non-dividing cells, as we know that the cell of heart, then the cells of brain, okay, and again the cells of skeletal muscles. These are the non-dividing cells. Once they are present at the time of embryonic condition only, okay, or at the time of body formation. Okay, after that such a cells they cannot form and they cannot divide. Okay, so these are the permanent cells. Okay, now this is what about the cells. Okay, that depending upon their capacity to divide, okay, the cells they shows these three types or these three groups. labial cells, stable cells and permanent cells. Now after that we can see here the process of repair. Now repair is the replacement of injured tissue by fibrous tissue. Okay. Now repair is the process. Okay. Whenever the injury is there. Okay. Now the process of regeneration is there, followed by again the repair. So repair is the replacement of injured tissue by fibrous tissue. Now here two types of processes are there. The repair which shows the two or which involve the two steps. So the steps such as granulation of tissue formation and contraction of wounds. Now here the granulation of tissue formation, which include, you can see here again, granulation of tissue formation. Here the term the granulation tissue, which is derived from its name, that is slightly granular and pink appearance of the tissue. So each granule corresponds histologically to proliferation of new small blood vessels which are slightly lifted on the surface by thin covering of fibroblast and young collagen. Okay, now here there are three phases they are observed in the formation of granulation of tissue. Okay, now the phases such as the phase of inflammation, then phase of clearance, followed by the third, that is phase of ingrowth of granulation tissue. Okay, now again this third phase, which again shows the two types or two main processes. Okay, what we say is that the processes, that is angiogenesis and fibrous tissue formation. Okay, we can see all the events one by one. So the first is what? The phase of inflammation. Phase of inflammation, in that after formation of trauma, formation of injury, blood clots at the site of injury. Okay, now there is acute inflammatory response with exudation of plasma, neutrophils and some monocytes within 24 hours. Okay, so what it is? The phase of inflammation, in that the following or after formation of injury trauma, blood clots at the site of injury. So there is acute inflammatory response with exudation of plasma, then neutrophils and some monocytes within 24 hours. Now this is what the phase of inflammation, followed by the phase of clearance. Here combination of proteolytic enzymes liberated from neutrophils, then autolytic enzymes from dead tissue cells and phagocytic activity of macrophages which clear off the necrotic tissue. Okay, again necrotic tissue along with that which also cleans the debris and again the red blood cells. Okay, now this is what the means, what it get clear, whatever the tissue debris are there, whatever the cell debris are there, or again whatever the necrotic tissues are there. Okay, they get cleared by this phase, that is phase of clearance. Now the third step is the phase of ingrowth of granulation tissue. Now here this process, which consists of again two main processes, that is angiogenesis, or the second one, that is fibrous tissue formation. Now angiogenesis, it is neovascularization procedure. Okay, now angiogenesis, it is also called as a neovascularization. So here in this step, the formation of new blood vessels at the site of injury, which takes place by proliferation of endothelial cells from the margins of severed blood vessels. So initially the proliferated endothelial cells are solid, but within a few hours develop a lumen and start carrying blood. Okay, initially the proliferated endothelial cells are solid in the form of solid buds, but within few hours, okay, such a buds they get developed, okay, a lumen and start carrying the blood. Now the newly formed blood vessels, they are more leaky, then accounting for the oedematous appearance of new granulation tissue. Okay, now here the blood vessels, they differentiate into muscular arterioles, thin wall venules and true capillaries. Okay, so whatever the newly vessels they get formed. Okay, now such a vessels, they are more leaky. Why? Because the gaps are there, more gaps are there. Okay, that points we already discussed in previous lecture. Now accounting for the oedematous appearance of new granulation tissue, the blood vessel, they differentiate into muscular arterioles, then thin walled venules and true capillaries. Now the process of angiogenesis, which takes place under the influence of the conditions such as the endothelial growth cell factors, okay, endothelial growth cell factors, which acts as a positive stimuli and appear in granulation tissue. After that, some components of matrix like type 4, that is collagen, which acting as a negative stimuli and appear late in the granulation of tissue formation. Now this is what the angiogenesis, this is the first step. The second step is the fibrous tissue formation. Okay, now here you can also see in the diagram, here diagram is there. Okay, the diagram which depicts, okay, activation or the active granulation tissue. Here you can see this is the formation of ulcer. Okay, here you can see the angiogenesis or the neovascularization. Okay, here you can see neovascularization, and here this you can see the chronic inflammatory cells are there. Again here you can see the formation of young fibrous tissue. Okay, now here you can see in the A diagram, active granulation tissue having inflammatory cells. Okay, which is again the newly formed blood vessels and young fibrous tissue in the loose matrix. Now in the B diagram you can see the healed, okay, granulation tissue, which composed of a very few mononuclear cells, then compressed blood vessels, dense collagen and new fibroblasts. So here the second step is what? The fibrous tissue formation. Here this is the here the explanation of B diagram, that is fibrous tissue formation. So the newly formed blood vessels, they are present in the amorphous group substance or matrix. Here you can see which are in the substance or which are in the matrix. Okay, now the new fibroblast originate from fibrocyte as well as by mitotic division of fibroblast. Some of these fibroblasts have morphologic and functional characteristic of smooth muscle cells. Okay, now the collagen fibrils begin to appear by about 6th of day. As maturation proceeds, more and more collagen is formed. You can see in the B diagram. Okay, more collagen is formed, while the number of active fibroblasts and new blood vessels, they get decreased. Now this result in formation of inactive looking scar known as the cicatrization. Okay, cicatrization. Here you can see cicatrization. It is mentioned here, granulation of tissue, cicatrization. Okay, now here you can compare with this both diagram A and B. Okay, now this is what about the granulation of tissue formation. After that, the next step of the repair is the contraction of wound. Okay, the contraction of wound. Again here, the wound starts contracting after 2 to 3 days and the process which is completed by the 14th day. During this period, the wound is reduced by approximately 80% of its original size. contracted wound which results in rapid healing since the less surface area of the injured tissue has to be replaced. Now, in order to explain the mechanism here of the wound contraction, number of factors have been proposed. Now, the factors such as, here you can see, dehydration, contraction of collagen, then discovery of myofibroblast. Okay. Now here, in case of the dehydration, so dehydration as a result of removal of fluid by drying of wound which was first suggested but without being sustained. Okay. Now after that means removal of fluid. After that the second, that is contraction of collagen. Here it was thought to be responsible for contraction, but wound contraction proceeds at a stage when the collagen content of granulation tissue which is very small. After that, the discovery of myofibrils which appearing in active granulation tissue and has resolved the controversies surrounding the mechanism of wound contraction. Okay, now these are the discoveries of myofibroblast here, which appearing in active granulation tissue and has resolved the controversy surrounding the mechanism of wound contraction. Now, this is what regarding the contraction of wound. Now, here you can see the process of wound healing. Okay? Wound healing here, the wound healing actually here healing of skin wound which provides a classical example of combination of regeneration and repair procedure. Okay, wound healing which is an example of both the procedure, that is the regeneration procedure as well as repair procedure. Now here such a process which shows again two ways, that is healing by first intention, that is primary union, and second one, that is healing by secondary intention, or we called it as a secondary union. So we first discuss on the primary union of wound healing. Now here the primary healing or the healing by first intention. Okay, here this is defined as the healing of wound which has the characteristic such as, okay, the primary union or the primary wound healing. Okay, it is defined as, okay, or what, it has the characteristic such as the clean and uninfected, then surgically incised, then without much loss of cell and tissue, and edges of wounds are approximated by surgical sutures. Okay, now the sequence of events in primary union is shown. Okay, you can see here again. So these are here we have the events. Now the events such as, you can see the events of primary union of skin wounds. Here the incised wound as well as suture tract on either side are filled with blood and clot, and there is inflammatory response from the margins. Okay, here you can see this is the cut. Now here the tract, suture tract, now in the B and C diagram. Okay, so we can see all the steps one by one. Here first, what it is, the primary union, it is characterized by the clean and uninfected wound, then surgically incised, then without much loss of cells and tissues, and again the edges of wounds are approximated by surgical sutures. Now here the sequence of events, okay, they are described such as, in the step, here you can see the initial hemorrhage, then acute inflammatory response, epithelial changes, organization and suture tracts. Okay, so here primary union of wound healing which constitute the steps. Okay, initial hemorrhage, acute inflammatory response, epithelial changes, organization and suture tract. Okay, now we can see here, in case of initial hemorrhage, here immediately after injury, the space between approximated surfaces of incised wound, which is filled with blood, which then clots and seal the wound against the dehydration and infection. Now, the second, that is acute inflammatory response. Here, this occurs within 24 hours with appearance of polymorphs from the margins of incision. By third day, then polymorphs are replaced by macrophages. Now, the third step is the epithelial changes. Here, the basal cells of epidermis, you can also see in the diagram. So, the basal cells of the epidermis from both the cut margins, they start proliferating and migrating towards the incisional space in the form of epithelial spurs. Okay. Now, a well approximated wound which is covered by a layer of epithelium in 48 hours. Here the migrated epithelial cells, they separate the underlying viable dermis from the overlaying necrotic material and clot, forming a scab which is again cast off. Okay. Now you can see here the formation of scab. Okay. Whenever the wound which going to heal, then that time formation of scab is there. Now again which is cast off. Now the basal cells from the margins continue to divide. By fifth day, a multi-layered new epidermis is formed, which is differentiated into superficial and deeper layers. Now, here you can see in these diagrams, okay, in the B diagram, then here in the C diagram you can see the removal of such a suture of around 7th day and result in scar tissue at the site of incision and a suture track. Okay. Now we can differentiate these diagrams. Here suture track is there, then formation of scab, okay, at the injured part, and after that by the day of 7, okay, you can see all the injured part on the, okay, here you can see all the incision, okay, which get healed or which get repaired. Okay, now after that the fourth stage is the organization. Now by third day, fibroblasts also invade the wound area. By fifth day, new collagen fibrils, they start forming, which dominate till healing which is completed. Now in 4 weeks, the scar tissue with scanty cellular and vascular elements. Okay, a few inflammatory cells and epithelialized surface is found. Means again in the C diagram, okay, which is similar to that of C diagram. And suture tract. Now each suture tract is separate the wound and incites the same phenomena as in the healing of the primary wound, that is filling the space with hemorrhage, some inflammatory cell reaction, then epithelial cell proliferation along the suture tract from both the margins. Okay, now here when sutures are removed around the 7th day, much of epithelialized suture tract, which is again shows here, and remaining epithelial tissue is in the tract is absorbed. Okay, now you can see in the C diagram. Okay, here in the C diagram, a removal of suture of around 7th day, which results in scar tissue at the site of incision and suture tract. Now this is what the procedure of the primary union. Now after that we can see the secondary union. In short, the secondary union. Same, the secondary union, which is characterized by the conditions such as open with a large tissue defect at the times infected, then having extensive loss of cells and tissues, and the wound which is not approximated by surgical sutures but it is left open. Okay, these are some conditions where the secondary healing or what we say is that the secondary union is there. Okay, now here the basic events in secondary union are similar to primary union but differ in having a larger tissue defect which has to be breached. Okay, now hence the healing takes place from the base upwards as well as from the margins inward. Okay, now the healing by second intention which is slow and results in large, at times ugly. Okay, so it is a large wound. Okay, so you remember large wound as compared to the primary union. Okay, now here again here sequential events are there. The sequential events of secondary union such as the initial hemorrhage, then inflammatory phase, epithelial changes, granulation tissue, wound contraction and presence of infection. Okay, now we can see one by one. Now initial hemorrhage, here as a result of injury the wound space which is filled with blood and fibrin clot which get dry. Now the second, that is inflammatory phase. So there is a initial acute inflammatory response followed by appearance of macrophages which clear off the debris which are present as in the primary union. Now after that epithelial changes, here as the primary healing, the epidermal cells from both the margins of the wound proliferate and migrate into the wound in the form of epithelial spurs till they meet in the middle and re-epithelialized the gap completely. Okay, so which again reform the epithelial cells and which form the gap completely. Now here the proliferating epithelial cells, they do not cover the surface fully until the granulation tissue from the base has started filling the wound space. Now in this way the pre-existing viable connective tissue which is separated from the necrotic material and clot on the surface and forming the scab and such a scab which is cast off. Now in the time regenerated epidermis which becomes stratified and again which become keratinized. You can also see in the diagram. Now after that the granulation tissue. You can see in the diagram also. Granulation of tissue, here the main bulk of secondary healing which is by granulation. Now the granulation tissue which is formed by proliferation of fibroblast and neovascularization from the adjoining viable ligament. Now here the newly formed granulation tissue is deep red, then granular and very fragile. When time the scars on maturation, they become pale in color and white due to increase in collagen and decrease in vascularity. Okay, I think you observe the wound. Okay, after some day it appears as again the whitish or again pale in color. Okay, so this is due to the granulation or due to the less vascularization. Okay, the specialized structure of skin like hair follicle and sweat glands are not replaced unless their viable residues they remain which may regenerate. Okay, now after that the wound contraction. Here in case of wound contraction, which is an important feature of secondary healing and which is not present in the primary healing. So due to action of myofibroblast which present in granulation of tissue, the wound contracts to 1/3 to 1/4 and its original of its original size. Now the wound contraction occurs at the time when active granulation tissue which is being formed. Now after that the last one, that is the presence of infection. Now the bacterial contamination of an open wound which delays the process of healing due to release of bacterial toxins that provide or that prevent the or that not prevent that provoke, okay, we stimulate the necrosis. Then the process of thrombosis. Now the surgical removal of dead and necrosed tissue, that is the that is debridement, okay, which helps in preventing the bacterial infection of open wounds. Okay, now here you can compare this diagram A, B and C. Here in the A diagram, open wound which is filled with blood clot and there is an inflammatory response. Okay, now in the B diagram, here you can see the epithelial spurs from the margins of wounds meet in the middle, okay, meet in the middle to cover the gap and separate the underlying viable tissue from necrotic tissue at the surface of surface forming the scab. Now, and in the C diagram, after contraction of wound, a scar which gets smaller or smaller than the original wound or which is left. Okay. Now, this is what about the primary and secondary union or primary and secondary procedures of wound healing. Okay, now in next lecture we discuss with again different topic or that is particularly the neoplasia.